I want to get straight to it. I can see how this benefits VW. How does it benefit you?
Well, first of all, very happy to be back on the show. Yes, we announced this framework agreement on a strategic technical collaboration with VW Group. As part of it, also, VW is making an investment up to 4.99% in our company. This is actually a culmination of a very, I would say, elaborate discussion between two sides, really to recognize the complementary strengths of both sides to develop the China EV market. The deal is actually for us to provide our leading technologies in both powertrain, for example, our 800-volt silicon carbide platform, our electronic architecture, as well as our software stack, for example, our smart cabin operating system, as well as our XNGP autonomous driving software Pact, and leverage that to combine with Volkswagen's strength, which is in engineering, in design, in supply chain, and manufacturing. So we aim to produce two new SUVs using our G9 platform, which is our flagship SUV currently selling in China, to produce two models for China for Volkswagen brands starting 2026. So that, as part of that deal, I think there's a few very...
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so I think just to answer David's question on the significance for Xpeng, I think there's several areas I want to emphasize. First of all, this deal really underscores our technology leadership and recognition of our full stack capability in both hardware and software in the smart EV industry. Recognition by a world-class partner like Volkswagen really, is an indication, is strong proof. But secondly, I think more interestingly is that this is also very transformative from a monetization perspective for our technology. Because as a young company, we have limited scale, but we have invested massively on leading technologies, as I described earlier. And this deal actually allows us to monetize that over a much more significant scale with Volkswagen's brands and products behind it. And that actually allows to have very significant recurring revenue for the years to come. Could be as early as next year. And then thirdly, I think is
so does this partnership, this money, Brian, safeguard the Xpeng brand? I have to ask you, to what extent does this partnership help you turn around your sales and production performance?
Well, I think, first of all, we are still very focused on growing our own product sales. For example, our recent launch, G6, which is very successful in China. We actually anticipate very strong revenue and as well as volume ramp up based on the successful launch of G6. And we'll continue to produce vehicles under the Xpeng brand using our leading technologies. But this collaboration with Volkswagen allows us actually to monetize our technology across a much wider product suite with Volkswagen's vehicle volumes, which actually give us the opportunity to significantly increase our technology revenue and returns.
So, Brian, where do you go from here? I mean, you have international ambitions. How does this affect those?
Well, first of all, our international and global aspiration is unchanged. In fact, with a strong partnership with Volkswagen Group, obviously we need to make sure this technical collaboration from a strategic perspective is going well. But in the long run, we believe with additional help and support with our partners, we can develop international markets more assertively. We actually recently have already launched our sales of G9 and P7 in Europe, and we anticipate to open more markets later this year as well as next year.
Brian, is there anything in this deal that gives Volkswagen the room to increase their stake at any time? And in the future, could we actually see Xpeng EVs being made and produced out of Volkswagen factories?
Well, I think currently the collaboration is focused on the development of those two models I described, mainly focused on the China market. and also the 4.99% investment is the deal that we have signed with them. Obviously, as we deepen our relationships, I will not rule out additional collaborations and further strengthening of our relationship. But currently, I think the deal is what I just described.
All right, Brian, understood. Since we're talking to you, I have to ask now about the company and how this fits into the broader push to profitability, because your losses seem to be widening. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course. Just give us your outlook on profitability, given the backdrop, of course, in China, where the last time we spoke was price wars are obviously eating into margins of many of your peers, including yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. First of all, I think as we regain growth in our delivery volume, I think our cash flow and profitability will increase. So we actually anticipate with the successful launch of G6, we will have significantly improved cash flow positions later this year as well as next year. But also this deal, as I mentioned, actually provides us an opportunity to have significant recurring revenues coming from this collaboration. And this contribution could arrive as early as next year. So that will also help our path to profitability. So with the growth of our own brand sales, as well as the additional revenue from technological collaboration, we think we can actually achieve profitability sooner than originally expected.